Welcome, gamers, to the start of a mini-series looking at a game called The Troop. The Troop is a squad-level World War II, sort of like 1944 era Western Europe campaign at this stage, or Western Europe, not a campaign even. It really is just a game where you play different scenarios essentially with different squads to try to take objectives. So I thought we'd actually sort of have a bit of a look at this one. It's in early access, very early access at this stage. A lot of changes been coming into the game. So the devs are sort of still working on a lot of different aspects of the game. So it's in quite a high state of flux, but it's very, very playable. It's great fun to play. And it's a game really, really worth watching. It's going to be interesting to see where this game ends up in the coming months and years, to be honest. I think it's going to be one of these games that's just going to get better and better and better. What it does have is, like as I say, sort of like a fair number of different sorts of squad-level units, like individual tanks, guns. There's no aircraft as such. You've of course got different sorts of infantry units. It does have, as I said before, different scenarios. Now, when I first started looking at the game, I was concerned. The scenarios are all basically in here. There's a fair few of them to play, and I was concerned about the replay value. Now, this is, as I say, early days yet with what we're sort of seeing through here. And so most of these you can play as either British or as the Axis, or just the Germans in this instance. So they're the only real factions that you have. I think it's you've got British, Canadian, and German essentially are the three different groups. But not that I'm complaining about that at all. Like it's refreshing to have a game that is I guess not pro-American, if you know what I mean. Like, because so many of these games end up being very, very much US based, and so they tend to focus on the US aspect of the war. So it's actually nice to sort of see the something that is more focused on the British aspect of the actual war itself. And it's a really cool game. Like, it's in the hedgerows of northern France. So it's just an interesting game the way it sort of has been put together with different sort of each scenario. It's got its own map. One thing I was concerned about when I first started to play it, and I haven't played that much of it, but I have enjoyed everything I have played, is that the first few scenarios are very much scripted in terms of where all the units actually start, and so you have very specific things to then go and do. But then as you get into it, where you can start to sort of play either side, you'll then find that the positioning of the forces is actually randomized. So even though the forces themselves might be the same, the actual positioning of them is actually random, and that's really quite cool to sort of see that. So there is replay value there, even though the maps themselves aren't randomly generated. I would love to see randomly generated maps at some point in the game. I did actually talk to the devs about it, and they were sort of saying that what they really want to be doing initially before they look at that would be to make sure that the AI can really sort of adapt. Like at the moment the AI can adapt pretty well, and I've certainly found that it can certainly give you a run for your money. But it's essentially, it's working within a scripted environment, so it sort of knows what to do. But if you start to randomize things too much, they just want to make sure that it can really handle everything before they then start to look at putting in random map content and stuff like this. And I don't know if they will. I'm hopeful that they will at some point, but that could be months or years down the track. I would imagine it would be a fairly long time before they would actually get to that one. And certainly I would like to see the community maps being added to the game as well, where people can actually build their own maps. There is no map editor at this point in time. You can see we've only got really like a bit of a summary about the game, just a bit of a welcome screen. It just comes up with whatever the latest news is. They play these particular scenarios, and as I say, they range between all sorts of different things. Like these, as I say, are fully scripted down through here. Then they become sort of like a little bit randomized in their placement. But there's actually a preview of what they're now building, and we're going to be playing that preview. The preview actually goes through a situation where we actually can go and choose our own forces and build up the forces that we want to take on a particular map. And that's really quite interesting. So we'll actually play that one there. Now, settings-wise, so we'll just go through a few of these because some of these will actually interest you, particularly the way that we're going to be playing the game. Some of these are just, these are cosmetic. So there's show the information pop-ups. The pop-ups don't do enough yet. I would like to see a lot more information in the pop-ups. I'd like to see much more information about the actual units that we're that we're selecting, and also the situation that they're currently in, like, whether they're getting protection from a certain area or what else it might be. There's just not quite enough information on the map yet. As I say, early days though, so anything could happen with that one through there. So most of this stuff is really just helpers. The show the fog of war just shows what you can currently see and what you can't currently see. This is a bit problematic for me at this point in time, because what it does do, it shows what you can easily see as the fog of war, and even things that you can sort of half see. It sort of shades that out as if it is fog of war. Unless there's some sort of colour scheme there that I'm missing. I'm a bit colourblind, so that would be. I would like to see that secondary element of the fog of war also shown up in this as well. That would be very, very nice. Now we've got things like other things we can turn on or off in through here. So zero steadiness ends the unit's turn. So if they have zero steadiness, basically if steadiness is sort of like their cohesion or their morale for the individual units. It's sort of, I think that some of the terminology could be changed a little bit in the game, to be honest. I think that morale you tend to think of in terms of of individual units. So for me, the steadiness would actually be, the steadiness impacts what the unit can then go and do that turn. And so I quite like that, the fact that zero steadiness means that they can't do anything, so that's fine. So if you can suppress them enough that the steadiness goes down, that's the end of their turn, that's fine. Using the morale system, this is actually not unit morale. This is like a force cohesion, and I think that force cohesion would be a better term for what the morale system in the game actually is. When you do this, each side has got like a bar of its cohesion factors, and so I think in this map that we're going to be playing, we'll be starting off on 12. Once they get down to 0, we lose. Essentially, everyone runs away. But similarly, the other side has also got a morale system as well. Other than that, you're playing to the absolute death. Show the enemy morale. I've got that one turned off at the moment. I might just switch it on. Actually, no, I'll keep it off. There's a lot of things you can turn on or off to make the game harder or easier for yourself. And similarly with this morale bonus, so you've got like sort of different things that you can actually have, like a bonus player morale. You can actually go and make it so you've got to be very, very careful, or it can be fairly loose with what you're doing. Anyway, just keep it on 0 at this stage. Now the unit spotted information. Show whether a unit is not visible to enemies. Now this is actually something that you can really exploit, and I will actually leave it right where it is, up through here. You can have show until the first time a unit has been spotted, or do not show do not show unit spotted status. So that way you don't know if you've been spotted or not. When you have it on this one here, you can really move through the map quite effectively by just checking if you've been spotted or not. So I know that most of you will probably be wanting to play further back down here, but I will leave it on so you can see it in action. So I'll leave it way back up there. It does make the game easier to a degree, but it's also, for me, makes it more interesting as well. Now the enemy status details show full enemy status information. It still doesn't give you everything, to be honest. It gives you a little bit. And again, this is one of these things where if you didn't know what you were dealing with, that would make life fairly interesting. So I'll just go with show full enemy status information. Now I'm thinking that if you're wanting to make this a more difficult game, you'd be pulling these right back. You've got the inputs. There's only a few here, like WASD, Q&E rotates, tab to just go to the next unit. And the other one that's really important is the R key, the line of sight tool. That's quite cool. L is a log, and that can be useful to have on as well, to have a bit of a look to see what actually went on with something. It's not quite as fleshed out, again, as I would like, but that's it's still pretty good. Graphics are just sort of fairly basic, fairly sort of simple with what they do, and similarly with the audio as well. I might just pull that master volume down slightly, and so we'll just go with that one there. I've got the music turned down because I'm not sure if the music was done for the game or if it's actually licensed, and I'll end up in trouble if I put it on and play the game with YouTube. Anyway, that's the settings. Let's just go back across to preview. And so this is where the game is heading at the moment. And this is where the AI now has to adapt because it can't plan for what you're going to do. And so I think this... I don't know if this is easier. I've actually struggled with this, to be honest. But let's go and play as the British in through here. Now, I was playing another one. I'll just go and restart that one, and we'll just get into it. So, just let it load in. Big special thank you to my Patreon supporters, by the way, while we are waiting for the game to load. I always do forget to thank you for your support. It really does mean a lot to me. Anyway, let's continue on. So the maps are randomly generated. So not randomly generated, the maps are full 3D, so you can sort of see them through here, and they look fairly cool. What they don't have at this stage is sort of like meaningful destructible terrain. So it's not actually destructible. I don't know if there's plans to make it destructible at some point, but like when you're sort of firing away at a building, it doesn't collapse or anything along those sort of lines. And I think it'd be interesting to see that if it did come into the game. I think there's a lot of room for improvement as the game sort of hits its strides. And at the moment, the game is really just building up its basic premise, and its basic premise is something that really is quite nice to behold, to be honest. It is really quite cool. So let's just go, and with this particular setup, we get to choose our own forces. So we can either have like a large force, a small force, or a large alternate one force, which I don't know what that is. We just go back to the default of large. And what these are, we've got certain points we can then go and spend. And the points system is interesting as well. You'll see that when we get into it. Also the weather systems, like with the actual map itself, we can then sort of chop and change this a little bit. So we've got sunset. Now, again, I don't know what the impact of this is in terms of viewing. Like if they're coming from this side looking into the sun, does that make it harder for them to spot? I just don't know. Sunset 2 back in through there as well. Clouded sun glow back in through that side. You've got overcast light, overcast heavy. So I don't know if this changes what you can spot, like what the viewing distances actually are. Stormy, so it's even duller again. Some rain falling in this instance. Storms sort of going in through there, and fog. So you've got like a whole range of different sorts of environmental effects. Again, I'm not exactly sure as to what affects what, but let's just go back to the default, I think. We'll just go to midday sunny, just so the map's nice and bright, just so it looks good, and we'll get started. So we click start in through here. Okay, so when we come back in, we have to now go and buy our core units. We've got 2,100 points to buy these units with. When we come back in, these are the starts of squads. They're not actually just individual units. You can see there the cost, like 400 for one of these sort of Shermans. The Sherman 3s are 400 as well. The Sherman 5s are 400. And so we can have a look at their stats as well if we're trying to sort of figure out which ones to actually go with. And they don't really chop and change much between these at this stage. Now, as I say, this is probably more experimental with the game. We also then have like different guns that we can then go and bring in. We've got a motor infantry platoons, which allows them to sort of, like if we go and click on that one, we can see there that we've got like a choice of different sorts of groups that we can then bring through. Like we've got LMG teams that we can bring in, infantry groups. And so these can actually move fairly quickly with these motorised platoons. We've got a carrier platoon there with just a few other little things that can then come in. This sort of gives a bit of a feel for what can be added into the actual mix, but there's actually even more than what we can see through here. If we go just back to a standard old infantry platoon, we bring that one in, it's going to cost me 360. Now, I want to have one platoon on the map, and what I can do is I can have like a late deployment. I'm not sure when it deploys, to be honest. So, but if I do that one, the cost goes way down. So we can save a lot of money here. So let's just go and get a basic group. Actually, that's the platoon there. Now, if we go to the command group, if we just get the headquarters, the extra, we can go with, for example, what else should we do in here? Got the universal carrier, which we could actually then go in. It can carry up to 5 soldiers. But so can these. Some of these have got guns on them as well. I think what I'll do is I'll just get like a Vickers machine gun team. So we'll just grab one of those, and the support, we might just go and throw in I don't want to spend too much money on these at this stage. These can carry a lot of soldiers, these Shermans. I'm half thinking of maybe even bringing a Sherman in. The Sherman have got slightly better abilities, like with their turrets and so on and so forth. These ones have got a little bit less abilities. Now, the The rear armour, you can see through there, is 32, 32, 64. These are 40, 40, 75, so they're a little bit better. And they also have armour penetration slightly higher, just ever so slightly higher. Whoops, I didn't want to bring the Cromwell in. We've got other things we can bring up through here as well, like a 6-pounder gun. The Churchill can carry 15 soldiers. Wow, that can carry a lot. I think what we'll do is we'll go and grab ourselves... I think we'll get the Sherman 5 or Sherman 3. Doesn't really matter whichever way. The stats are basically the same for these. Let's just go and bring that in. So that's going to be the first group. Now we've got like a... we've got a few different groups there that have come through for that one. Now we've still got 14, 20 left. So we'll just go back into a new one in through here. Let's get an actual group of Shermans. So we'll go with a Sherman 3 group, and we can then bring in other tanks in around this one as well. So the extra ones in, we'll just bring a Sherman 3 back in through this one again. Again, the values are pretty much identical. Actually, the turrets are better here. Oh, and the armour penetration. These cost 100 more. Let's go grab one of those. Go back to the old Shermans, the command tanks. We can get Sherman 2. They're the same price. Basically the same sort of tank. We'll just go and grab one of those. And we've got recon, so I can get like a small tank. This would be good. I'll go with a Stuart 4 there. And for support, I'll go with... Now, we can't afford the Churchill. We can get the Centaur back in through this side. Now, the armour penetration is really high there. If we just go back for none and make this one a late deployment. So this one here, we've got a lot left over. And so I can actually get this one for 210. And so this one still gives me 342 left over. If we just go back and get one that's a bit cheaper. Let's just get the Stuart 3, so we can get another group on the actual map. So these will come in late with the late deployment. So I'm not sure when they come in, but anyway, they'll come in when we need them, I hope. So we'll have to play a little bit cautiously. Now, we also then have other teams that we can then bring in. We've got infantry sections, which we can sort of bring in that have only just got like them plus a support team as well. Another Vickers machine gun, if we sort of brought that one in. We've still got 179 left over. I might just ditch that one, and we'll just go back and have another look to see what else we can bring in. Now, that's their sections. That's a recon team. I would like to get more if we can do it. The carrier platoons are a bit cheaper, but they're not going to... will they help us much? Probably not really. I think I'll just get commando subsections. Yeah, we've got extras in through here. We've got tank hunters back in through this side with good armour penetration. Commando machine gun team and a Piat team. Let's just go with tank hunters and command infantry assault team, I think. All right, we've still got 64 left over. Now, if I make these late deployment as well, it gives me 149, so I can still get even more. Let's go with another one. Yep, can't get anything else. If we make them late deployment, can we get anything? Yes, we can. Get with the machine gun team, and that's only got 5 points left. So most of these are going to be late deployment, which means that we're going to have to sneak up a little bit with our initial forces and then sort of make a final rush. Let's just leave it done there. That's going to give us a lot of forces that we then get to use. Now, the first one that we brought in is deployable across the actual map. So we're in like a deployment phase, and this is the same as a lot of the actual maps themselves. So I can just use the Q and E keys, start to sort of rotate around. We've got, like these are squads with 5 units. If we have a bit of a look, this one here doesn't have a little symbol next to it. These other ones showing that it's hidden. Like if I click on that one, that's actually a hidden unit. But this one here is spotted. So this is what I mean about having that little symbol. It is quite valuable to sort of see what's where. Now, we've sort of certainly got a lot more back out this way. If I'm just going to go and relocate this one. I'm going to relocate it back down over here somewhere, I think. Now it's still showing that it's you know, has been spotted. There's our tank. The tank can't relocate into too many different places. but I might keep it up this end. Just keeping up that edge of the map. So we've got both of these units. Now, this is fairly open. I might just come in from this tree line, I think. Actually, I've got another headquarters unit way back out over here. Relocate. I think I'll try to keep them all fairly close. Actually, that can be spotted there. It's our turn first anyway. Let's just move these across. It's still hidden there.
Yes, sir.
That one's still hidden as well. Okay, we should be able to get into that tree line, I think. And then we can bring that tank up. These guys in the middle here, what I'd like them to do is to get into this central area and probably still keep this LMG group. Just move them up this way.
Yes, sir. Reporting.
Yep, that'll do.
Yes, sir.
I'll just pack that one up so that that one's actually a machine gun group, and it's just going to be packed up, ready to go. Just make sure the others also are, yep, everything's ready to go there. Okay, so we'll sort of move up with the different forces. Let's just end deployment there. So it's our turn to start. Now, this one here was showing that it had actually been spotted. Now, we won't know. Look, actually, I should just go through what's what. When we come in, and this is where the game doesn't really give enough information. I wish there was sort of like more information about the actual units themselves and what they actually then go and do. There's an infantry group. The morale value is 1. And this is where I'm saying before that I think force cohesion would be a better word, because if this drops down to 0, we then lose the game. So we've got to keep this one up. If this gets completely destroyed, it's going to cost us 1 point. And most of the forces that we have here will actually have that point value. So we have to just keep the guys alive. Even if it's only 1 unit, this is where the game feels a little bit different than most other sort of squad level games. Like you can keep on doing things even when you're taking like a lot of, like if this gets down to one point or 1 man, it'll have less firepower, but it's still an effective unit. It doesn't sort of, like morale doesn't kick in as such. And it seems to, everything seems to be a little bit abstracted as well, like only having like 5 units in a team like this seems very, very light on. So we've got 1 submachine gun and 4 rifles. These are the we've got 5 units. They're all healthy, fit and healthy. If we have a look at this unit, we've got infantry MMG. We can set this one up if we wanted to. We packed it up in the deployment phase. We can still pack it up and run off in the same phase, so I don't have to do it in that first phase. Back and through here, we've got different things we can do. With if we fire or throw a grenade, it's the end of our turn. This means final action whenever you see an exclamation mark. This through here is the steadiness factor. So as we move, the steadiness factor will come back down. And also, if I do go and click on move with this one here, you'll notice that when I go to 1 and 2, it's you see how the steadiness, look at the steadiness back over here. It goes a little bit less steady as we move up. And then when we go to the 3, you'll notice there's an up arrow. This means that they don't go prone. They're going to keep on sort of marching up. Now I'm going to move these up fairly quickly up to that position. We then actually have the exclamation mark then also then show next to the up arrow. So 4 is the most we can go. And look at the steadiness factor goes down to 0 at that point. So we move up and we can't fire or do anything once we actually move up to there. That's okay. Move this one up. I want to get into this tree line. Oh, we've been spotted. Okay, so that's now, we've been spotted from somewhere. And if we just pull back a little bit, press the R key and have a bit of a look. So I'm guessing that we've been spotted from in there, I would imagine, would be the problem. So hopefully we won't take too much damage when they fire at us. I'll just press R again, and we want to run these up into this other zone until we can get the reinforcements in. This group as well. So they've all been spotted actually. If we just press R again. Maybe from somewhere else. This could be a bad move.
Yes, sir.
Another thing the game doesn't have is if I press escape, I can't save the game, which is sort of like, these sort of games you'd normally, it's almost a bit like of a roguelike approach to it, which I actually don't think it needs. I think that saving the games would actually be fairly good. Let's move this one up into the building to start with.
On our way.
And we've been spotted there as well. Now, if we've been spotted there, I'm not sure how they've spotted us there. Oh, well, we'll soon find out. Now, we've still got the tanks in through this side. Now, we think that there's a unit there in one of these two. So let's just have a quick look at the R key. So I can get shots there and still there as well. So I think that's where I'm going to take the tank. So I'm just going to go and press R,
Receiving.
advance. I can't quite get up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do get a shot there. That place there gets a shot at both. Okay, so we'll just press R.
Receiving.
I'll talk about the tanks in a little while, but I just need to sort of see where we actually are there. So I think actually I'll be able to remember that one. The tanks are interesting because they've got like a movement points in through this side, and they can rotate the tank or reverse the tank. If you don't use up all your movement points, and they've still got the same steadiness factor in through this side, you've then also got the top turret where you have to aim the turret and then fire at things. So let's just move this one across. So it's moving up. Now that's interesting. It's still hidden for some reason. I thought that would have actually, I thought we would have been spotted moving up through there. But so far, so good. We're actually okay. One thing I could have done, and I forgot to do it, was to open up the hatch, and I didn't do it.
Yes, sir.
Now these have all been spotted. I'm going to put them back into prone positions. Because they've been spotted, let's just keep them safe. So we'll just move the 2.
Moving out. Yes, sir.
So I can get into the tree line, which I can't. I can get into woods over here. But I think I'm better off just keeping them prone at this stage. Try to keep them safe. Right, we'll end our turn there. Now, when you fire, you then get spotted. So if they fire on us, then we'll at least know where they are. And we can then start to plan accordingly. Ah, they are in there. Okay. And they killed one of our guys with the machine gunners. And we took 20% suppression. Now,
Receiving.
we know that there's one there, and we know that we can get a shot there. So if we move the tank up, like if we have a look at what we can actually spot, we do actually have a shot at that one, but it's not a great shot. If we were there, it's still not a great shot. Where would we have to get a good shot from it? I mean, none of them are, because they're inside the building. That's what it's going to be. But where we are, like if we can move up to there, we don't have to worry about so much about the tree lines anymore. So that is a cleaner shot from there. Let's just do an advance up to that position. And you see there, it doesn't change the steadiness all that much. So let's just go and move this one up. It was still technically protected. So we've used 2 of those. If I advance a second time anywhere else, I'm going to then end the turn. If I reverse, I'm going to end the turn. We are facing directly this particular unit. Let's just aim the turret now. So now we've got like 7 aim points and firing points. Now if I go and click on that one there, We can now we've got a 17%, but times 5. So it's a reasonable shot, actually. So let's just go and fire. And yeah, and that'll be the final action for this guy. There we go. We got 2 kills. It's down to 1. And we did some pretty good suppression. If we want to have a look at the log file in through there. So the infantry group attacked the British Vickers machine gun with rifles. This is times 2 at 29%, one soldier casualty. In this case, we had the 5 times 17 with the 2 casualties in through there. There's one left. So that's actually fairly good, and we just keep that aim is now going to be there basically for the until it finishes what it's doing. That one should run away because they've also got a force cohesion aspect as well.
Yes, sir.
Now I can fire. Actually, no, I can't see that one there. Let's just right click just to stop that one. If we just press R. If I moved into there, I can fire if I wanted to. But I think I'm just going to try to stay. I'm not hidden. Someone has seen me, so I'm just going to try to keep fairly low initially.
Reporting.
Crossing the hedgerow is can cost a fair bit. Let's just get them across. It's a little bit easier to spot. That's a 3. That's a 4. We can get into the forest there. Let's just do that. The forest will protect us a little bit. But we have been spotted. All of these have been spotted. Now this one as well. We want to move that one up into the woods.
On our way. Reporting.
And that one as well. If I just click it, it'll end the turn. Now these have been spotted. I'm just not sure where from. I'm concerned because that one's been spotted. I don't know which way to go with this. I think I'm just going to move up 2
On our way.
and just keep prone.
Reporting.
And I'm thinking I'm going to do the same with this one.
Moving out.
Just almost sort of sneak up. That one still hasn't actually been spotted yet. There's no screaming rush for us to do anything.
Yes, sir.
I'm just going to stay where I am here, I think. If I move into there, that's only a 2. That should give me better fields of view. Let's just do that. Yeah, we have been spotted. Now we open up all of this. Let's just stay where we are there and just see if we can see anything. That's pretty much everyone now moved. Let's just end the turn. Confirm. I'll leave the log open just so you can sort of see if there's fire that does come. Okay, what have we got? We've got a some sort of tank. That one has moved. Okay, well, at this stage, everything is going fairly well. We didn't get fired on that particular turn. We've got tanks now coming up this way. Now, this is where the game does say that it tells you what's what. Now, this one is moving quickly. We can sort of see there. So they're difficult to hit, but they can't fire very well at this stage. Now, we don't have anything that can really take this one out, so I think I'm just going to stay where I am around this particular tank. We don't know where that's coming in. They have moved that force out of here. They've moved to the back area. If we just press R and then have a bit of a look to see what they can spot. They can't spot much else. Now, what I don't want to do is get within about 3, a range of 3 of infantry, because they can take out the tanks. Let's just move into the tree line this time.
On our way.
Until I get the reinforcements, I don't really want to go too crazy with this.
Reporting. Moving out.
Also, the fact that we've essentially been spotted as well does bother me.
Moving out.
Just keep prone in the trees. And we want to just sort of do a bit of spotting, really, just to sort of see what's what. Now, you can see there we've still got, if we were firing there, we'd have a bit of a bonus with the actual firing, but that's not going to be the case. What I think we might do with this one is just move it up so we can sort of see a little bit more carefully. Let's just press the R key. Now, we actually have a pretty good field of fire right from where we are. Doesn't get much better than where we are, to be honest. Like, is there any reason to move up? We have better fields back in through that side. Yeah, maybe just up to there, and just, you know, look for other targets. But we just got to be careful. We should be okay up to there, I would think.
Receiving.
So we'll advance up,
On the move.
and then just rotate the tank around. Interestingly, the turret always stays facing whichever way the tank is when you do move it, and so you can pre-arrange where your turret should be facing. Now that may be a reasonable one. If we just press R here, we are covered. There's nothing that can come with this other tank that's moving down. Like, it's actually, I don't even know where it is now. It wasn't over this side. It was way over here somewhere. It's way over here. That's just miles away. So this one is fairly well protected from its flank. So I think I can just use it to turn this other direction. So let's just go and rotate the tank, and we'll just get it so that it's facing up that way. And I can still aim the turret. Even if I don't fire, I'll just aim it for there, just in case. Just confirm. And so if they happen to move there, then we're going to be able to fire at that next turn. So we'll just leave that one where that is.
Yes, sir.
The machine gun. I wish that this would actually have a way of shrinking down the tree lines. Let's just move it around so we can sort of see what's what. I might set this one up, I think, where it is. Actually, let's have a look and see what it can spot. Oh, it doesn't spot that much, really. It does spot a lot better there. And that's still heavy woodland there.
Yes, sir. On our way.
And we'll set up just for covering in through that side.
Reporting.
Again, we'll just move up
Moving out.
and just go prone. So we're in the tree line there.
Yes, sir.
I don't know where these have been spotted from. I can get into the house there. Let's just do that. Get both of these into their building.
Reporting.
And move this one up as well. Actually, that one can't quite get there. In that case, I'll just still keep it sneaking. Now we've still got this guy. I think he's the one that's been doing a lot of the spotting. I think I'm just going to leave him back until we get the other force coming back in through. Let's just rotate back around. So we're sort of looking in behind our forces again. Well, guys, we've run out of time, so I'm going to leave it here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in episode 2.